It's the Brad and John Show.
It is the Brad and John Show, and this is the C Block. Today's date is, hold on a minute. I just did something that went weird on me. Okay, here we go. Today is February 21st, 2025, and this is the C Block. We talked about this last week, and we are going to start a new thing on Friday, okay? And we have the intro. You ready for this, John? I'm going to play the intro.
I'm ready. We have 3, right?
Yeah, but this is the one you liked, right? It's the country version. Okay, here we go.
I do like that. Yeah, I'm ready.
Here we go.
What would John do? What would John do? What would John do? Do-do, do-do. What would John do? What would John do? What would John do? Do-do.
Nice country intro. Okay. This is the WWJD part of the show. John and Brad are heading north on 270. And as you're approaching the ramp that takes you onto either east or westbound 40, there is a fork in the road. And there is a guy who is right in the middle of the fork with his car hanging out in both of the ramps to east and westbound 40 where it splits. You know what I'm talking about, John? You've ever done
I know
that before?
Exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, okay. I'm picturing it right now.
And he's hanging out there, and he's trying to get the spare tire from underneath his car, and he's obviously got a flat tire. If John were driving north in 270, WWJD.
I would lay on the horn and I would try to slow down. And if there was nobody behind me, I would scream, "Get off the median." And I would keep driving. And this is the part where we remind everyone that, as you can tell by Brad's collection of little fireman hats and other trinkets from local law enforcement and fire protection districts, Brad is a better human than me. Brad, what happened when you stopped and helped that gentleman?
I did not stop. I dialed.
What do you mean? What do you mean? Did you call 911? What do you mean?
I did call 911, John.
Oh, my gosh. Are you serious?
Yes. I called 911.
There we go. That's good. That guy certainly couldn't help himself. He probably didn't have a cell phone. Good thing you called 911.
Well, so I give the dispatcher the information. It's in Town and Country. And this is somewhat problematic because a lot of the police departments have deleted their own dispatching agencies. They, I think Town and Country used to dispatch for themselves. Now it's St. Louis County. So you get St. Louis County and you tell them, okay. So what was interesting was, as I'm giving the thing, they have a thing where the supervisors can listen in. Sometimes, the supervisors will listen in to make sure the calls are being handled.
Actually, I don't know because I don't annoy 911. Go ahead, Brad. I didn't know that fact.
Yeah, the supervisors can listen in. And the supervisor cut in after I gave it was a female dispatcher, and a guy comes in and he says, "Hey, is this Brad Hildebrand?" And I go, "It is." He says, "I'm a big listener to your show. And that guy, I don't know how you deal with that guy. How many? Tell me again. How many times has John Combest called 911?" And I said to him, matter of fact, what's interesting was I've got the little clip on my phone, okay? And what I did was I said, "It's funny you should ask that. I've got John actually saying how many times he's called 911 in his life." And I held up the phone while I'm driving, and I hit the button, and the phone said, guess what the phone said?
0.0.
And the supervisor dispatcher says, "I can't believe that guy. Brad, here you are calling to warn us about a guy who might be in a terrible situation. We're going to send a squad car up there right away and get behind him and put the lights on so nobody hits that poor guy. And you tell that John Combest that we're not pulling for him here at the dispatching station, but we think you're wonderful, Brad." I say, "No problem, sir."
That's exactly what happened, but you left out the part. What I think he didn't tell you was that he immediately sent a bunch of people both east and west on 40 because he reported that there's a one-armed, old, crippled man trying to use his phone while he's driving on a highway.
So, see, you bring up an interesting point because of the fact that technically making a 911 call from your car is now illegal unless you have it on speakerphone or hands-free device, correct? I mean, if you pick up your phone.
Which you don't.
No.
In other words, you risk life and limb and the life of other drivers by attempting to dial a phone when you're merging onto a busy highway.
I had my headset on. So I have a headset that I use in my car.
Do you really?
Yes, I love it. And
I shouldn't be surprised by that. Is it from the 1990s or is it like sometime in the last 20 years?
Matter of fact, I have the same headset that was in the movie Airplane, and it's the one that Lloyd Bridges. It's the one.
Do you have a? Well, I know you have a blow-up doll that rides shotgun with you too, Brad. But that's a different story.
It's the one that Lloyd Bridges has when he's in the control tower at the airport when they're trying to land the plane. No, what's wrong with having a headset? I love my headset.
I'm just surprised. I guess maybe I shouldn't be surprised. No, I could just see you driving and attempting to fiddle with your phone, driving 40 miles per hour in the middle lane while people are trying to pass you, being like, oh, I'm going to do my good deed and call 911. I haven't met my weekly quota for annoying 911 dispatchers yet.
John, first off, okay, let's do a scenario, and I hope this never happens. You're driving along Highway 40, you're in traffic, and it comes to a stop. People are, in rush hour traffic, and somebody smashes into you and really hits you hard, where your airbags, inflate.
Yep, we got it.
Okay, what? Well, hold on a minute. Hold on. With that scenario,
what would John do?
Okay.
What would John do?
Okay, what would John do?
I would call 911.
Whoa! What? You would call 911?
I know. And then my second call would not be to my insurance company or the group that I hire to take care of, I won't say the name of the company, to take care of car things. But my first call after 911 would be to Brad Hildebrand, because I would want to report, Brad, I made my first 911 call. I broke my 911 virginity. I want to share this moment with you. And then hopefully so I could get like a certificate or a pat on the head like you get from 911 dispatchers. I would tell them that I know Brad Hildebrand, and they would be like, he finally rubbed off on you.
I'm not trying to paint myself as a good guy. I'm just trying to paint myself as what a proper person would do when you see things like that. Not going above and beyond the call of duty, but just being an average Joe who's looking out for his fellow man. You make fun of me for that. You know what I'm saying?
I do, yeah. And you know what? The world needs people like you, Brad. I'm going to keep driving. I'm going to curse the guy because he probably made me slow down a little bit. And I'm going to think, what an idiot. But then I'm also going to think, wait a minute. He's a grown man. It appears like he's competent enough to change a tire. I'm going to guess that he probably took the proper steps in reporting, hey, I either need a tow or fill in the blank, right? But you know what, Brad? In the category of virtue signaling, you are by far a better human than I am. I would not call 911.
But see, I don't want a virtue signal. I'm just saying
Sure. I'm sure that's not what this is about. I'm sure this is just about pointing out what a great person you are for calling 911. And that's what I'm doing. I'm underscoring that for you.
I'm not a great person. I'm just an average Joe doing what he should do. That's what I'm saying.
Well, good for you, Brad. And I'm sure there's a percentage of people that listen to this show that are in that same category. And then there are normal people that are like, yeah, get that idiot off the highway, and it's not my problem.
Okay. Changing subjects one more time. To give you an idea of how much I'm different from other people in the radio industry, okay? I have a client who will start running their ads on Monday, okay? And this client, and will run their ads on this very radio station. And the client is the Franklin County Republican Central Committee. As a matter of fact, if you want to go to you can go to their website, fcrcc.org. Franklin County Republican Central, fcrcc.org. Okay, and the ad is promoting their Lincoln-Reagan Day dinner on March 27th in Washington at the 3.
Awesome, that's great.
Now, when the guy, and we've done ads for them in the past, there's a great group of people out there in Franklin County. And the guy's name is, you got to love the guy, because the guy who hires me every year to do these ads, his first name is, guess what his first name is, John?
Brad.
Yes, very good. Okay, his first name is Brad. Okay, so we normally go through this. He sends me a flyer, and I write the copy around it. So there are 3 guest speakers. The keynote speaker is Denny Hoskins, who is the current...
Nice! Very good. That's awesome.
Is that plural? Is it Hoskin or Hoskins?
It's plural, yeah. Denny Hoskins.
Denny Hoskins. Okay, I got that correct. Okay. But the master of ceremonies is Drew Shelton, And
Nice, very good.
And one of the guest speakers is Ryan Hite.
Very good. That's awesome. Are you serious?
Yes, I'm being serious. Okay, so, and the copy hasn't been approved yet. I have it up on my computer. Let me go right over here. Can you still hear me? I'm across the room. Can you still hear me okay?
Yeah, I can. And the other thing is, while you're grabbing it, Brad, the great thing about, like, I listen to Ryan Hite in the car all the time. And then when I'm in the car in the morning, I listen to Drew and Dan Strauss. But they always give shout outs to, because they have a ton of sponsors in Franklin County, like, because you listen to the station, but they've got a ton of, just yesterday, Ryan was doing a live read for a hauling company out there. And I remember thinking, hey, if I ever need, Ryan was given the explanation of, hey, if you're ever breaking anything down in your house and you need to, like a rollaway towing bin, here's who to call. They have a ton of sponsors in Franklin County. That's awesome.
Okay, I'm going to read you part of the copy I wrote, which has not been approved yet. The master of ceremonies will be Drew Shelton of the Dan and Drew morning program on Tracy Ellis's Real Talk 93.3. Ryan Hite, also of Real Talk 93.3, will be the guest speaker. Now, I'm telling you, John, I need to get a new jingle. What would Tracy do? What would Tracy do? Let's say the situation.
Or you haven't said Tony Colombo flip test in nearly 5 days.
Right.
So you can use that one too.
The Tony Colombo flip test. Let's say I was the guest speaker. Do you think that if the client gave Tracy the copy, said, and Brad Hildebrand of the BJ Morning Show on Westplex Talk will be the guest speaker at the FCRCC, do you think Tracy would go like, I'm sorry, we can't run that ad, sir. I don't care if you're paying us $10,000. I won't mention his name because he's a competitor and he's a terrible guy and he calls 911 way too often.
No, that's my complaint against you. And just because someone else out there, maybe it's Tracy Ellis, just because she would behave toward you in a certain way, doesn't mean that you have to behave the same way, Brad. You're a bigger person than that.
But I try to make this point all the time. And it's funny, I had lunch with John Beck on Tuesday, and I'm not name dropping. He's a big dude in broadcasting. And we talked about this very thing. And it's funny because I've mentioned this before. The Zimmer brothers, there used to be a bunch of them. I think there's only 2 of them left. They own the cluster stations in Columbia, Jeff City, and in Joplin, and in Springfield. I don't know if they still own any stations. They're originally from Cape Girardeau, and they had some stations here in St. Louis they owned years ago. But they are excellent operators, excellent broadcasters. And we talked about this very thing, that they go above and beyond this radio BS crap, that you won't mention somebody from another station and stuff like that. And matter of fact, your friend Stephanie, who you got a couple years ago, set up a nice luncheon with you, me, and her, and very impressive woman. She's the morning host there. And once again, she's not into this radio BS crap because she talks about all sorts of different things, and she's never, well, we're not going to talk about KFRU, because of the fact that they're the competition, blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm saying?
I get exactly what you're saying. Yeah. So, Brad, let's get back to the folks that purchased advertising. You said it's March 27th. Where is it that night?
Well, normally they have it at the either at the KC Hall in Washington, or they have it at the Elks Lodge. But this is, I've never heard of this before. It must be new. It's called the What is it? Here, let me read the copy. I can't remember. I wrote it last night. It's
Three Kings. Maybe it's We Three Kings of Orient are bearing gifts we traveled afar. They have one of the longest names of any restaurant in Franklin County.
No, 333 Vineyards. 333 Vineyards in Washington. Okay, and I don't even know. I've never heard of 333 Vineyards, so I don't know where that's at. Okay, so anyway, a good group of people. The Franklin County Republicans are a good group of people, and they are not happy with Tim Brinker because of the fact he's abandoned ship. Did you know that?
That what you're asking if I knew what?
That they're not happy with Tim Brinker.
Oh, I didn't know that they weren't happy with him, no.
Yeah, matter of fact, they want him to go back to doing play-by-play on high school football games. They don't want
He's still doing that. He's not giving that up.
So what is
he mentioned that in the article. He explicitly mentioned he's still doing play-by-play. Just because he's working for Greater St. Louis Inc. doesn't mean he's not going to keep doing football.
Did he really say that in the article?
Yeah, I had it on my website days ago. Yep.
Okay, what is exactly his new job again?
You should probably go to johncommerce.com every once in a while, and you'll see these articles.
Do you know?
It's a brand new website I started here in October 2001. I know you probably haven't heard of it.
Do you know that I did a season of football with him on this very station where I was the color guy?
No, what, did you really?
And he was the play-by-play guy. Yes,
You're kidding me.
I swear to God, he was my play-by-play guy, and I was the color guy. And I absolutely positively sucked at it because, once again, this is me in football. Okay, I will be totally honest and tell you I know baseball pretty well. But if you said to me, okay, where does the tight end line up? I would say, I don't know. And I don't know the difference.
Yeah, you would just say you've been looking for tight ends for 87 years, right?
I don't know the difference between a left guard and a right guard and a tackle. I know the left guard is on the left side of the center and the left tackle is on the left side of the center, but I have no idea where positions
And you know
at.
that you put right guard on your armpits, right, Brad? Because you're stuck in the 80s.
No, I don't use right guard. I use Old Spice, but that's a whole other story. Okay, but the point being is, yeah, I did a season with him, and he was the play-by-play guy, and pretty damn good at it, to be honest with you. And before he got into politics, you know what he did in Washington? He was an advertising specialties guy. That's what he did. He sold like cups.
No way. I hope he sold yard signs just to annoy you.
He did sell yard signs, ironically.
That's great.
He had a little retail location on East 5th Street. Matter of fact, right across from the Dollar General store. So that's my deep dive into good old Tim Brinker.
Into Tim Brinker. Now, here's the other thing. As we wrap up, and we'll have to save this for next time, but wouldn't the Central Committee, I mean, he's going to be replaced by another Republican. So why does the Central Committee, why do they feel so strong? They just feel like he's abandoning Franklin County for this job? Is that the sentiment?
John, can I tell you something you're not going to believe?
I won't believe it.
I made that up.
Oh, wow. Okay. I do believe that, Brad.
Okay.
We know that the leader of freedom-loving Franklin County wouldn't make the Central Committee mad, and I bet you he'll be there at Lincoln Days that day.
Say goodbye, John.
See you guys on Monday.